You can win as long as you keep your head to the sky. Be optimistic.
Man, what's up with Not So Private Podcast? We got a mashup like you probably ain't never seen before. I got two of the greatest people in the freaking world. I got Miss Mia Piper, my cousin, love her to death. It's about to be something crazy. And also, we called the GN growing up, but Jean, I think if I'm being French today, it'd be Jean Williams. Is that right? Am I going wrong or am I going correct?
Literally the only people who was able to call me that my whole life.
But I think it was because my Uncle Ronald, right? Is it not?
Yeah,
I think I'm about to say, and he just had us all. He does
Y'all
that.
all get a pass. The Piper family gets a pass. It's cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's up with the culture?
Man, I don't know. It's been a lot. Let me tell you that right now.
I have to say this. Since we're mashing up podcasts this week, I have to say this.
I like that.
John, you ready?
I'm ready.
We are black at it again.
Black at it again.
Black at it again.
Another not so private conversation.
Yes.
But we are also going to be talking about what's up with the culture because, like he said, we mashing it up this week.
Yeah, we got to mash it up.
On Martini Monday.
And we bring in Martini Monday.
Oh,
what's up with the culture? This is a perfect way to get Rolin back in the game. He took some time off. Right. And it's the perfect way to get him back into the podcast world. So what is up, Rolin? What's been going on? I know you have so much to share.
We're all.
I hope that wasn't loud for that. But I will say this. It's been a whirlwind for sure. Mm-hmm. It's been crazy. It's been adventurous, I could say that. That's the very least of it. We could say adventurous, right? But yeah, definitely since last year we're doing COVID stuff, and then you have then we August, I guess we can fast forward, then Hurricane Laura comes, we lose our home, and then once you lose your home, it's like, okay, so what's next? I don't know. What do you do?
Right.
Yeah.
But the next step for me was just really just taking care of my family. Just starting out with my girl Shalay, love her to death. Shout out to her.
Wifey for life.
For sure. Left hand ring gang is going crazy. Gang. But so just spending time with her, going to her mom's. I was in Church Point, Louisiana, y'all, the middle of nowhere. What they had was a Piggly Wiggly, a gas station.
Watch what you say. That's where my boyfriend people's from.
No, I'm gonna definitely tell him. It's nothing in Church Point, Louisiana. I can tell him in his face.
Honestly,
it's not a thing.
They know.
And they know. That's the thing. So I'm comfortable with saying what I'm saying because they know this. They know that it's a Piggly Wiggly, it's a Sonic, and it's a gas station, and there's a park. That's it.
One stoplight.
One stoplight. One stoplight. And Sonny's Fried Chicken. Shout out to Sonny's. I don't even know the owners there, but they got that one joint. That's Sonny's. So that's how y'all know. I've been in the middle of country and middle of just imagine. I ain't gonna say country. I'm not gonna go too hard.
No,
but I will say.
You're right.
But I will say I come from Lake Charles. We're not that big of a city now, but
compared to Church Point, don't do it
exactly. I was gonna say a lot of people have heard of Lake Charles because, unfortunately, of Hurricane Laura, Hurricane casinos. But yes, fortunately, because it is Casino City, basically. But
mini
Church
Las
Point,
Vegas.
I can guarantee you 98% of the country has never heard of Church Point.
And shout out to CP, man. We didn't have to talk about him this long. Jesus. Shout out to CP if you're from Mama from CP, if your aunties, everybody. Shout out to Church Point. No shade.
Church Point. We love Church Point.
They have a good Mardi Gras. That's for sure.
I heard.
Yes, indeed.
I did hear about that.
You talked about losing your home and stuff like that, but you also celebrated some big wins.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You go from there, and then after that, I got married in November. So you go no home in August. You go from that, then having a stretch, and still no home though. But you get married regardless. You like forget it. We gotta get married.
Right.
We didn't try like 3 times. First of all, it was like 2 locations. One lady told us no. One lady still didn't give us our $1,500 back. But we'll get back to that another day. I don't know what y'all do on y'all podcast. Me, I really don't care. I try to do my best to care. But if I found a care,
private conversations, and
Yeah.
now we have just opened them up.
Yeah.
So
No,
everybody
no.
Between you
everybody
and
gonna
our
get it.
LDBs.
Yeah, no, no, no,
Exactly.
no. She definitely did us dirty, but that's okay. We love her
Call
barely,
her
but
out.
that's okay.
That's okay
Uh
because y'all walked away with a dub. You
we
got
did.
married.
We
And,
did.
and I really I have to say this because I thought it was just so perfect. Me and Rolin talked on the phone quite a bit, and
Man, it was love.
just cousin to cousin, it was a lot of love. And I just remember he kept saying, I just want to marry my wife, man. I just want to marry Shalay. That's all I want to do. And I used to just be like, dang, like,
So
yes.
sweet.
Yeah. That's all I
So
that's all I wanted. I mean,
that was
because
it.
for me it was too much going on, and the only
It was a
person I really
lot.
had through all of that was her. You know what I'm saying? And so
Definitely.
and then just having her there, being able to support me, tell me, we're gonna be straight. And then for a strong period of time, she was driving from Church Point to,
Mm-hmm.
Salford to work every day with
Mm-hmm.
no crib and stuff. So she really like hustling out here,
Right.
making the drive, making the sacrifice. And for that, it put me in another drive and another mode to get the second win, which was go after a home and
Right.
really try to narrow down on, okay, we don't have no home. I got a family now. All right, let's focus, lock in. So, but
Right.
what people
Let's
don't know
get it.
is I've been actually trying to get a home since January. Like
Mm-hmm.
this whole January 2020 was my goal to get a home and get married. So even losing a home, I'm not knowing that the whole time doing that I'm going to lose a home. I was already going
Right.
for a home. So it was just like, all right, time to pull the trigger now. You know what I mean? So it just made me launch out and pull the trigger the way I want to pull it. And like I say, that's
Hey,
another story. Whenever y'all want to get into the home buying
Right.
process, oh
you
my
know, me and
Lord,
you finna talk about this because we going through the same process. We trying to get married. We trying to buy a house at the same time. So
it's gonna
Goals.
happen.
my goodness. But
Hashtag goals.
hashtag goals. But you, like I said, you walked away with the dub, and that's all that matters. COVID, hurricanes, getting married, buying a home, finding success, family, so forth and so on. And then here comes Snowpocalypse of 2021. And the Snowpocalypse really tried to take all of us out. Personally, the
Right.
Snowpocalypse tried to take me out.
Bruh. Houston went through it.
I heard, and it's crazy because a lot of people started like sending out. Y'all know about Cancun Cruz and him dipping
Mm-hmm.
out, and it was
Mm-hmm.
just it was a lot
And
going on.
Cruz.
Yeah,
I
and I
just,
didn't know. And what's
but
crazy is
we
talking to y'all, I
survived.
didn't know how bad it was until I
Right.
like called y'all, and y'all was like, "We don't have no lights. We don't
Yeah,
have
Right.
no
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 lights,
no
water.
water."
no
Like,
water.
and so I'm calling, checking up on Ian, there, checking up on the
Mm-hmm.
fam just every day. Hey, what's the status? And that's crazy.
And the
That is crazy.
status was, we don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
We just trying to stay alive. Snow apocalypse came, and it actually went because today was 70 degrees outside. And I was like, how dare you be 70 degrees outside after you tried to kill
It
us
was
last
so
week?
nice outside
It's
today.
beautiful.
Oh my
Beautiful.
gosh.
That's like the perfect ending, right? They try to it just maps it
Crazy.
out. Like and then the thing that gets me is like people act like last week never happened. Like today
Right.
felt like a day like
Oh, so true.
today felt like a day like we didn't even remember last week. We
Right.
like it just kind of we remember it, but like now it's like today the way it felt was like wait,
Right.
We're back to normal.
Like
yeah,
it
we back
wasn't
to normal.
18 degrees last Monday night
Exactly.
We
in
got down to
Louisiana. What does
9.
that even
We got
mean?
down to 9 degrees last week, and
It's so
the
true.
white was everywhere. My brother was like, it
Yeah.
went from winter wonderland to like the worst thing ever real quick.
No, I did.
So we survived snowpocalypse. And so, we trying to get back into the swing of things. So
So what
we
y'all do?
definitely
So
want to.
I'm interested. What did y'all do during this period? What did y'all do in a week time?
Honestly, I don't like. I'm one of those type of people when I go through something like negative or something trying, I try to forget it immediately. What did I do last week? I don't know, and I don't even want to go back and revisit it. I just know at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, one afternoon last week, I went to sleep cold, and I woke up cold, and I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I have to leave here. I don't know where I'm going.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
know how I'm going to take my next shower or what I'm finna eat, but I know I can't stay up in this place with no heat and no water.
Right.
Like, I can't do it.
We were
So,
so worried about y'all. Like you knew we were all texting and like I just felt like I couldn't help y'all at all. We had like
Yeah.
One day of really bad weather out here, and then the next day it was like it was bad, but it wasn't that bad. It was still frozen, and we couldn't like drive everywhere. But it wasn't like y'all like nobody's pipes was really bursting out here. It was just like maybe some people froze over, but then they thawed out like 2 days later.
Yeah.
So man, when you told on that third day when you were still going through it, I was like, bro, and I thought we was bad. Our lights flickered like 3 times, and I was like, "What are we gonna do?" So and y'all's went completely out.
When the water, and I saw the water going out, the pressure kept getting lower and lower and lower. When I saw it go out, I was like, "Yeah, it's only a matter of time before I cannot stay here." But then it's the thought of where can you go? Because it's not just this section of Houston; it was all of Texas, and Texas is what, the largest state in the country?
Yeah, it used to be a country.
Close to, like,
used to be its own country.
Right. So I'm like, it's not just us. So it's not just me going through this, it's everybody. So where could we literally go? And so it was almost like when Ian and Darius's stuff went out, ours was on. When ours went out, theirs was on. So I was able to go over there and like find some sort of refuge because it was a struggle. And I was like, yeah, I hope the country learns from this.
That's crazy.
This is bad. Like, not even to get all the politics of it, but it was just so
global
bad.
warming.
Yeah,
global
like
warming,
climate change is a real thing. Last week it was 9 degrees. Right now it is 59 degrees, and earlier today it was 73.
In the South.
Tell me, right?
It was 76 out here.
Tell me, climate change is not real.
No, that's definitely real. Especially last year. Like, speaking with the hurricanes still, it was like 20 hurricanes last year, I think. I think they ran out of names. They had to go back through the Greek alphabet, and we ended up getting Delta. So we ended up getting 2 hurricanes. Hurricane Lord, then Delta came. Right. And so it was just like, okay, Lake Charles, y'all needed 1 hurricane. Now here come another one to just, throw a little icing on the cake. Let me show you something. Let me show you how global warming really is changing and affecting the hurricane.
No, that's not a thing. What is global warming?
Yeah, what is that? What? No, negative. Negative.
A lot of people did stuff for the region where the lawmakers were trying to skip town. And it's like, this is a serious problem. And so, like, that's why I think social media is so beneficial, because it's like, you would not have known this otherwise. And we need to pay attention to this type of stuff, because like a lot of people say, like, the revolution is not going to be televised, and all that stuff. Is like, this stuff is happening like this at a moment's notice. Like, a lot of stuff is happening. We would have never known that Ted Cruz got on a plane with his family and then tried to scapegoat his daughter, talking about, oh, where our kids just wanted to go to Mexico.
Mia, this is what we do now. That's why I'm here. So the thing is, was he wrong if he wasn't in the senator position? Now, that'll be the question I ask both of y'all.
Was he wrong?
If he wasn't a senator.
If he was not a senator?
If he wasn't a senator. Because they had that mayor that went up, right? Y'all heard about the mayor that lost his job? Well, he didn't really lose it. He resigned.
He resigned because of the pressure. He got on social media talking reckless.
Yeah. Talk that talk. As he did.
If you're telling Texans, because you are also a Texan, if you're telling Texans, like, you just gonna have to go through it. Like, yeah.
Which Texas has a problem with doing that, by the way. Like, y'all always got a problem with saying, like, hey, deal with it. Like, wasn't it a senator out there that said something about, y'all should be.
That's what he said.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But he was also in Trump's cabinet. It's the same who ran the energy cabinet, like, or whatever that position was. I'm just like, was Ted Cruz wrong? Yes, he was wrong, and you can't really say if he wasn't a senator.
I'm just talking about a layman.
Okay, if he was a layman, you do what you do, but you're in a position of authority.
Fact.
You have the ability to make decisions. You have the ability to appeal for your state. Like, that's why I say a lot of these lawmakers and legislators, they don't care about the people. So it's like, you have the people on the ground doing the work more than the government. That's why the government hates us, man. They do not like us.
Well, what I will say though is, on my brighter note, is I feel like personally, I don't think that, we should be relying on it too much. That's the biggest thing.
Right.
And I think a lot of people, look for that gold or that silver lining within the government, like they're going to
Right.
do it. And I'm here to tell you, I just got my stimulus check November, the first one. So,
well, praise the Lord, because I still ain't got that second
well, there
one.
you go. Thank you. So imagine if you was relying on that first stimulus check.
Exactly.
Right.
Imagine if that's what you was relying on. You know,
you know what? I am so grateful and so thankful that I'm in a position to where I really don't have to rely. And this is no flex. I'm not
this is
bragging
facts.
or nothing, but I'm just saying I am so grateful that I do not have to rely on the stimulus check because they're literally playing with people's lives. There was the article that came out and it was so tone deaf, and it said, yeah, this is great. The $1,400 or whatever it's supposed to be, Americans will be able to have their bills paid up until the summertime. And I was like,
what?
$1,400 pays y'all's bills
till the summertime? That's
summer?
like my monthly, maybe like a month and a half.
I couldn't believe it. And I was just like, no, that is, people are
so tone deaf. Oh my gosh.
I have nothing.
And that just proves if you don't live the experience, then you have no idea what people go through.
They are so far removed. The people in power in so many different sectors, y'all are so far removed from the everyday Americans experience, like the 1%. That's why we call y'all the 1%, because y'all are so far removed from what the everyday American is living like. And it's like $1,400, like that's chump change compared to what a lot of other countries are getting anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
That's what it goes to, because if you're relying on it, let's be honest, there's people probably dying, people getting evicted, people getting all these different things that's crazy as they may seem, but it's the reality of what's going on in today's society.
The fact that you have to say, oh, well, I'm going to, I guess, sign a bill so that there's a moratorium on mortgages and evictions and student loans. Like, when you have the power to help these people and you just drag your feet on it, I'm not one of those people who champions the government, and I'm not hopeful and saying like, oh, this is a democracy and we whatever. Like, we did ads for voting, like get out and vote. Yeah, for sure. But it's just, we live in such a complicated world. I don't have the hope that I wish I could have. Like hope that we had way back when we were nice, young, and went behind the ears. Like,
let's fast forward past that, because it just doesn't exist anymore. That's not even there anymore.
Not reality. When the first time I voted for a Black president, and I just thought, oh my
gosh, you remember when that happened? We were so excited.
The world is gonna be different and new and this, that, or whatever. And fast forward X amount of years, and it's like, this is real life. Like,
it's like if you was watching a movie, it would have been like, man, I should have seen the signs back then that it was gonna be like
yellow flags, all the flags.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I just try to, and that's why with my podcast, that's why I always try to tell people, life's gonna be life, and our goal is to try to figure out a way how to know. The best part about it is if you recognize that it is life, you already beat step one of the problem. Right. You recognize that this is tough. You know what I'm saying? Because it could be the lowest of the lows of the lows, but it's okay. So where's your mentals? Or where's your mentality? Where are you at? And where's your spirit? Where's your physical body? Where are you at in this time? Is it time to sharpen those things? Is it time to enhance? Is it a time to just basically slow down? And I think for me, it was a huge slowdown moment for me, is to have the moment where we can just pause, stop. It's not like we live in a popcorn generation to where everybody wants stuff like right now. I need to have it right now. I gotta have it right now. And then you comparing in a pandemic. Like, why are you even comparing yourself to people in a pandemic? Like, you know what I'm saying? That don't even make sense. So you can only go at your pace. You can only go like Nipsey always say. I'm a big Nipsey fan. Marathon. We're not in a race. We're just going after a marathon. We're going after longevity. We're gonna pace ourselves. We're gonna just move. Because that's what me accomplishing the things that we was talking about earlier, like getting married and trying to get this house and going through all these ups and downs. It was moments where you had to have that moment where you had to just sit down and be vulnerable and be like, okay, what's going on? But then after that, you have to figure out like what's next, right? Like, what can I do to progressively move forward? Even though if it's just like moving forward in 100 miles per hour or point one, you know what I'm saying? It long as you progressing is the whole goal in this time. It's not to be like, am I moving? Like, you know, resting may be progressing. You see what I'm saying? Like chilling, not doing anything, may be progressing for somebody. You know what I'm saying? For me, I was work, then lose the house, boom, all of that stopped. My world changed in a day, you know what I'm saying? Or in a moment. So now it's like 3 months, you know, while I'm used to getting up, going to work, doing the process over and over and over. It's like up now, chill, sit back, time to pause. You know what I'm saying?
But like you said, like life be lifing.
Life do not
it
care.
do not stop. It don't care. It keeps these bills don't stop. So it's like, but you know, I think that's as a person of color / Black person, you know, I think that's just something that we learn, just to always keep going in any situation. So I feel like this is the norm for us. Like when I remember when quarantine hit, talking like when we first had to quarantine, talking to Mia and being like, this actually don't bother me. Like this is no sweat off of me at all. Like
we used to the curveballs being thrown our way.
I was like, I just got to find something else. I remember telling her like, oh, I'm applying for jobs from home, and like a week later I was like working at Lyft. It was like no big deal, because I've seen my parents go through some stuff and they just bounced right back and got back on the horse and just kept going. And that's kind of how I live my life. Like I may sulk for a day, but then like the next day I'm just looking for my next move so I can keep going. I just feel like that's just one of the greatness about Black people. Like one of the great things about Black people is that we always turn around a rough situation.
Right. You know? Life as a Black person is tough, like off the rip. Life as a woman is tough. Life as a man, a Black man is tough. I think, like you were saying, humans have that special ability to adapt to whatever situation they find themselves in. That's what makes us human, adaptability, right? So then add on the fact that you're a Black person, and add on the fact that, you know, we have been through generations of stuff, whether it be good, whether it be bad, whether we've come from the top all the way down. It's like, it's in us to be resilient. It's in us to keep moving forward, you know? So the pandemic is just the next thing that we have to get through, on top of all of the stuff that we have to deal with inside of being in a panoramic. Like, it's like, we still got to deal with work. We still got to deal with children. We still got to deal with family relationships. We still got to deal with these bills. We still have to deal with all of that. Add on a pandemic on top of that. And then, you know, think about what your experience has been. Like you said, it's not that hard for you because you've dealt with worse, right? So it's
like, I've literally been harassed by a police officer. The pandemic is literally nothing for me.
Saw in the summer, we saw this social justice uprising. So on top of that, like, you think about all the things that you've had to go through in your life, and it's like, Black people possess a very special, aside from every other build of a person, we possess a very special thing that I really do think is from literally God himself. It's like, these are my people, and they may have to go through, and this may not be a popular opinion, but it's like, these are some of the strongest people on earth. And I'm not saying, I'm not invalidating every other person's experience, but I'm like, look at history. Look at history. And it's like, we've been through unimaginable horrors. Again, I'm not saying other people haven't, but I'm saying, based on what I know about my history, the facts, the facts don't lie.
You know, it's Black History Month, LDBs. So, you know,
if this is Black History Month. Black history always. That's what
exactly.
365. What I said last time. 365.
365. So, but if we want to talk about the Black experience, like, that's what we're talking about. We're not trying to equate it to anybody other experience, and we're not trying to like downgrade anybody's experience as well. So, you know, this is a safe
Yeah,
space.
I don't want to take nothing away from
This is a safe
anybody else.
space.
Safe
This is a
space.
safe space, but guess what else this is? This is a black space as well.
Exactly.
Everybody else,
Absolutely.
yes, absolutely. You can come and listen and learn and whatever, but this is a black space. This is a deliberate, intentional black space where every week I get on this thing and I say, we are black, blackity,
Blackity
black,
black.
black.
Lord have
Black
mercy.
at it
You
again on
God damn.
purpose. I say that on purpose because it's very important.
That.
Yeah, it's very important for people to know who we are, where we come from, what we stand for, and we're unapologetic. Like, I'm not going to be anything different. I'm not.
Right.
And
I
this
don't
life,
think you can.
I don't think you can. I think
Yeah.
if
Right.
you are trying to be anything other than what you are being inauthentic. And it may step
Facts.
on some toes. It may rub some people the wrong way. You may lose some friends. I don't
I
care.
mean,
I'm
that
about to
already happened. We're past that point already.
I think the biggest thing for most people is that they have to realize that number one, you know, like we living through, like we're telling you about our own experience, like, and then
Exactly.
if we're talking about stories and like everybody's eyes, everybody wake up and they go through a daily process, whether that's eat, sleep, go to work, and or you know what I'm saying, doing their purpose or their passion every day, right? Going after it, love what they do their thing, but they all wake up with their own point of view and their own like life experience. So the best way we can always learn from each other is listening to different ethnicities,
Exactly.
different
Right.
ethnic groups, and understanding each other's cultures and understanding each other's boundaries too. You know, like understanding
Absolutely.
each other where what draws the triggers, what don't draw the trigger, what makes me feel good, what doesn't make me feel like those things should be like okay, we should know that each culture, and then that's what makes us be more unified and be together when we can just understand each other. And I think like when people close the ear, like, you know, like Malcolm X always talk about that, you know, where they don't even talk about the knife there even being a knife there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, that's the problem is when you got people that just like, okay, I don't believe it, I don't see it, da, da, da. But of course you're not going to see it because it's not your point of view, and I don't see yours either because you know. But I'm willing to listen, and I think the divide is the willingness to listen and understand.
That's
And
a
I think
fantastic point.
yeah, and I think we've always been a willing and understanding people, and so sometimes when we just don't like our willingness to understand to be taken for granted because we can be so willing to understand everybody else, and then when it's time for us to say our piece, everybody else not as willing to understand as much as we are for their cultures.
Fantastic. I really think you just like tapped into my
true.
brain. Because I was having those same thoughts as you were speaking. I'm thinking like, you know, it's so unfortunate that everybody gets a turn.
Exactly.
Everybody gets a turn. And, you know, I feel like we have the opportunity right now. There are so many different avenues right now, right? To where I can make a podcast and I can say whatever the hell I want to say.
Right.
I can post whatever I want for the entire world to see.
So many social media platforms.
Yeah, social media has changed the world. There's so many, you know, news outlets and TV shows and this, that, or whatever. And I feel like what he was saying, like, you have to be willing to listen. I feel like Black people have always had to be the listener. We've always had to take everybody else's point of view.
Oh my gosh,
We've always had to consider everybody else but ourselves. And we were told that we were wrong if we thought about ourselves before anyone else. We were teaching other people's kids before we were teaching our own. Like, let's really get into it. So I'm thinking like, okay.
Whoa. That was good, Mia. Wait a minute. Hold up, Mia.
I'm just saying, like, if that's it, Rolin, if that's what you said, I totally agree with your point. I feel like we've had to consider and we've had to listen and we've had to say, okay, yes, I understand. Okay, yes, I understand to this person and that person and this race and whatever. And it can be unpopular as what, you know, as the most unpopular opinion in the world. But I think this is our time to do us, to say what we think, to say how we feel, to share our experience, to let people know who we are, why we are, where we come from, and not be ashamed of it, and not be told that we have to be understanding, not be told that we have to listen. and that we have to take into consideration other people's feelings. Sure, we get into the conversation about emotional intelligence, and I have to accept what you say.
Right.
But I have to,
and it has to be valid.
It has to be valid, and your feelings are your feelings, and I can't invalidate your feelings. I totally understand that,
but it doesn't mean the feelings are true.
At the expense of my oppression,
exactly,
I have a problem.
Let me tell you how I know what both y'all are saying is true. And this is just like a simplified version of what you're saying. I remember being young, and me and my little brother Keelan was like, it was some white man. I think he was like one of our teachers. And he was just shocked that we didn't know this certain song made by this white man that we didn't know. And then when he like questioned us about why we didn't know, my little brother asked him like, well, I could ask you, do you know who? And he named like a Black artist, and he didn't know who it was. And it's like, even today, I think about that moment over and over and over again, because it's just like they, like, we get expected. We're expected to know, like, everyone else's like plight, the things they've been through, their history. And then when it comes to ours and the things that
28 days.
Exactly.
We got 28 days to pack it all in.
And then also our experiences are invalidated all the time. Like it's not even true because other people have not gone through it. So it's just like one little simplified version of my experience that makes me think about that. Like, wow, even as a kid, I experienced this on a small level. Well, not really a small level when you think about it, because when you like think about it more in depth, it speaks volumes about what's really going on. And it's like 20 years later, and we still are experiencing this today. So
yeah, that's absolutely.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But honestly, like, it brings me to what you were telling me Rolin was talking to you about earlier. Like, because of everything and all the experiences that each of us have been through, all our individual experiences, who do you think you would be today? Would you be a Malcolm X, a Martin Luther King, or a Fred Hampton?
Who do you think you would be today? Because Malcolm X, Denzel Washington played him in the movie. There are autobiographies out there about him. We know all about Martin Luther King Jr. He is undeniably probably the most influential human being on the face of the earth, as any given person with sense. And then Fred Hampton, Judas and the Black Messiah just came out. So if you have not seen that movie, you need to go and see it. If you don't know who Fred Hampton is, you need to do some research. After all, it is Black History Month. So
all
you're
28 days
and 365. You're asking, who would you be? Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., or Fred Hampton? That's an interesting question.
Ooh.
What do you think, Mia? Rolin? Jeanne?
Right.
I think for sure I'm gonna always go with Martin. You know, Martin is to me undisputable GOAT, greatest all time.
Right.
But because when you start getting monuments, you got a Black preacher that has a monument in Washington D.C. If we think about it, you know what I'm saying? Black Baptist preacher has a monument. The other person out there is president. Is it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so for me, his approach to honor love and keep love at the forefront, even though it makes us mad. Like I say, I'm a optimistic type person, and I'm always like inspired, like just love to be motivated. And I think that when love is leading it, right, and we lead out of that love, I think everybody can relate to love in a certain point in their life. Everybody has loved something, loved someone, like they understand what it is to be connected to that. So when we can express what it means to be loved and like understanding, like feeling and have like, I guess you could say emotional, or not even emotional, just kind of like empathy, like, you know what I'm saying? Understanding other people. And I think Martin was great at trying to do his best. Maybe he knew some of these people probably was like, yeah, whatever, they not listening. But he knew at the same token that he still had to show some level of empathy to them, even though we know he probably was more empathetic himself or had more feelings that was deeper and everything like that. But at the same token with him, I love just his approach of just going at it with love, trying to do his best. Like, don't retaliate. Just try to do, even though, like I said, I think personally, I think I'd be more like Martin X. You know, I put the two together. I mixed up on y'all. I wasn't ready for that one.
Okay.
I told my parents that, and I tell everybody I'm more an X. I think that just because, like, I mean, just Malcolm, his whole approach for me, he had a great understanding of everything. Like, he literally knew, like, you know, you can't really, and that's how I look at, you know, a lot of things today. I really need a new car. Just got in a wreck, whatever. I'm gonna be all right. But I need a new car. But I'm not the car buyer that goes to the shop and just be like, hey man, how you doing? How you doing, man? Hey, I'll take that one. I'll take that one. All right, good.
Right.
And you know, I get off. I'm the guy that got to research before I go up there, look at the car that I want, you know, all this stuff like this. And I think with Malcolm, he was always strategic, looking at the situation before he went into anything. And the craziest thing, the coldest part to the Malcolm X movie with Denzel was when he said, it was a girl, that white girl came up to him and she had all the gear on. She's like, Malcolm, we're on your team. We're on your side. What can we do to help out with the occasion? Like, you know, we're so with you. We're down with the cause. We're everything. What can our people do to help out you guys? Malcolm looked at her and said, nothing. And then he walked off. I say, what in the world? She was so dedicated to saying it. Like, Malcolm, I just so passionate about it. I swear we can help you guys out. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, maybe I can't be that cutthroat like Malcolm, but he had a point if you think about it.
Right.
I mean, he technically had a point. They can help a lot, but what Malcolm was trying to present, he was saying you can't help with the trauma and the stuff that's been embedded into our people for so long. It's nothing you can do to help us overcome that. But
he was going off his teachings and he was going off of his lived experience as well. So
facts.
Yeah, he was definitely saying, you white, you'll never be able to relate to me and my black.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't blame him when it comes to that.
I definitely understand that.
Yeah, but I mean, side note, like we say, we got all, for me, you know, all my white brothers and sisters, I know I love y'all. If it ain't nothing against, it's Black History Month. So we just trying to learn y'all some things.
There are some people, I think Amanda Seals, she says there are people who are white and there are
people who happen to be white. I said that at work today.
That's right. And so, you know, you have people who they have had a different experience from the majority and they are what we call allies. And that is a thing and that's totally fine, but you're never going to be able to relate to this experience.
Yeah, and I think that's what he was trying to say, but he was just so cutthroat back in the day. He was just like
so you can't help me.
Yeah, like he was just like nothing, and he walked off. He was like, "Oh my God, Jesus!" But you know, Martin was definitely a total different thing. He was like bringing them together. So I would say for me, it definitely probably be Martin for sure.
I it's hard. I find use and I find the effectiveness of all three of these men.
Right.
These are some of the most powerful men in our community. Hence why they were all murdered, you know.
Right.
Malcolm X, he did what needed to be done. He, of course, was like riddled with certain personal things and things that just kind of got in the way, but his message was effective. Martin Luther King, highly effective. Fred Hampton, highly effective. These men were powerful. Like they contributed to the world and the Black cause in major ways, like ways where if they were not here, who would have done it? Like they did the things that needed to be done, and we can only think and wish and daydream about what life could have been if they would have stuck around longer. Of course, we know that they would have wanted to be around longer. They were killed. All three of them, you know, were killed, whether it was from an informant or from, you know,
FBI.
just flat out FBI assassination. And, you know, it's just, I don't know. I think for me, I find that all three of them, who would I have been? I would have been Malcolm King Hampton Jr. Like, I don't know.
For real. And that was the point of it, you know, like all three of them carried different weight, right? They all carried their own space and where they needed to carry it at the moment in time. And I think they all had a goal in mind. It was just three different approaches to the goal.
Right.
You know, the same kind of, you know, looking out for our people, making sure that they're getting good education, get good food, good banks,
Right.
businesses, economic streams, like stuff like that. But it was just 3 different approaches.
You definitely needed to hear the raw, unadulterated truth from Malcolm X. You needed to hear the love and the compassion from Martin Luther King, and then you needed that energy from Fred Hampton.
Right.
Like you need all the, and so many other things that he was able to contribute. Like he was 21 years old when he was killed.
He was so young, but he had done so much by the time that he had died. I actually feel like
21.
I would be more of a Hampton X. And here's
Forget all that other
honestly, stuff. Like honestly, I understand allies. I do. But at this point, I just feel like they can't do anything for us that we can't do for ourselves. Like it's been so long we've been trying to get people on our side, and where have we gotten? 2021.
Yeah.
You know? So I respect Martin Luther King. I respect his approach. When I was young and growing up, I always thought I would be a type of Martin Luther King person. And because I'm an optimist, so I always figure like equality, love everyone. Like I always admire that about him. But the older I get and the more reality and the more experience that I get, I realize that white people can't do nothing for me. And then it's like my whole life I will always be doing something for white people. Like my money, my taxes, my like if I'm sick, like the amount that I pay for my insurance, like everything is owned by them. When I go see a movie, like it's just so like when you put it on a broad spectrum and you think about it in terms of there's like 4 banks that own everything in the United States, and they're all owned by white people. The top 1% is all white people. Like it's like they really can't do anything for me. We really got to do our own. We really got to separate and take care of our own. The reason why I admire the reason why I admire Malcolm X so much is like for like Mia was saying, for his direct approach. Love his direct approach. Like I'm not saying I'm all the way Malcolm X just because he. I'm talking about I'm talking about Malcolm X pre Martin Luther King, when he was like more like the white devil type person. Right. So I'm not like thinking like that. I'm thinking about like after he like decided to leave the Nation of Islam. I'm thinking more of that Malcolm X. And then when I think of Fred Hampton, I'm thinking about how he lived in Chicago, and he tried to bring all the gangs together. It didn't matter. But he knew that if he took the minorities and the people of color and they came together, they can create something great. If they always stayed separated, we will always live in poverty. And I really do believe that to this day, because when you look at the people that's in poverty still in 2021, who is it?
Yeah.
Black people and people of color.
Yeah, you're right.
So it's like he died in the 60s. He died in the 60s. He was 21 in the 60s. So that means he was born in the 40s, right? And that means since the 40s, nothing has really changed. So that's why I feel like we tried this Martin Luther King approach for way too long.
Not my dog Martin.
Way too long.
Not my dog Martin.
I have white friends.
Not my friend, boy.
I have white friends. I love my white friends. Like I have white friends that I'm so close to. But at the end of the day, when it comes to a system that's been built, that's been held against us for our lives, where they got a 400-year head start, there's really nothing that they can do for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. My biggest thing is I just think that it does help. I think like far as for me, I like seeing lawyers, right? And seeing like getting black people being lawyers, getting more black doctors, more black nurses.
Yeah.
Or these people, like, you know what I'm saying, getting people in that field to be able to understand the same thing they understand. Because I worked at Chase. I worked in one of the top 4 banks in the world. And just being there, you just kind of got to see how they think and how they operate and how they like to move the money and like, stuff like that. I don't work there no more, so I really don't care. I mean, they just have like but no, for real, they pushing people to do EATMs. They're pushing more electronics. That's why you're seeing more people use the banking online. That's why you're seeing. So, and then I just had them people, you know, this thing don't take your job one day. Ma'am, if it take my job, I'm gonna tell you something right now. That's a bad boy. But that's where it was all headed. So that's why you're seeing more of that. I think eventually the dollar is already devaluing. And I think that's why a lot of people are going into these stocks and these Bitcoins and stuff like that.
But even when you look at stocks and Bitcoins, just by the recent stuff that happened with Robinhood, you learned that it's still like system placed to like hold people back. And it's really not nothing is really equal.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's hit. I think they're just eventually one day we're just gonna have numbers. Like I think that when you go into a store, they're gonna be like, how much is that? It's gonna be 4. You know what I'm saying? And how much is that gonna be 6?
That's some
type stuff. Yeah, no, I think that's where it's going to eventually hit. That's just me personally.
Which okay, because again, like I said, we're humans. We're gonna adapt to whatever. We're gonna end up adapting to whatever system it changes over into, just like we adapted from something as basic as cassette tapes to CDs.
Right.
Now everything is digital and we stream everything now. Nobody's buying DVDs and so forth. Like little silly stuff like that. But like
put movie gallery out of business.
Yeah, like it ain't none of that no more. But I'm thinking like what you were saying, Jean, I'm trying not to lose train of thought. Oh my God, I hate this happened. But the stuff that happened with Robinhood, as soon as we catch on and they realize, oh, we done found the cheat code. Well, not even the cheat code, but we just found what y'all did. And now we flipped it and we're using your game on you. Now, these people, they get so afraid. They start getting fearful because who holds the real power?
Oh, let's put policies in place that say that this can't be legal anymore. And it's like, but it was legal before when you was getting rich off of it.
Yeah.
The people hold the power and they know that. And they know that if they can basically disillusion us to believe that they hold the power, then we'll just play by their rules.
Right.
And every time we get ahead, they change the rules. And I'm not just even talking about Black people. I'm talking about people in general, because this affected everybody. That whole Robinhood situation, it affected everybody. As soon as they realized that anybody other than the 1% caught on to their game and their rules, they tried to change the rules. They tried to block what people were doing, which should be illegal. It should be illegal.
But is it?
So you're gonna move the goalpost and say, oh well, no, now we're just gonna do this. It's because they're afraid. Once we as people realize our power, that's when the revolution starts. But I mean, and that, like I said, that's what they're afraid of. That is what they are literally. We saw them cower and change the rules in real time, which is why I keep saying social media. Y'all be bashing, so people be bashing social media because there's a lot of foolishness. Social media is where it's at. You'll never be up to date if you're just watching CNN. CNN can't keep up. They can't keep up.
That's fact.
Right.
So if you're watching whatever platform you are on, whether it be Twitter, which is a personal favorite, because stuff be happening like this. Like,
Twitter be fast.
Fast. It's the #1 news source in the world right now. So if you're watching what's happening, you can see, and then you can come up with a game plan for yourself. But the problem is, again, they're changing the rules on you. They're saying what they think should be legal. And of course, it's never going to be in your favor.
Right.
They don't want you to be at, or even get close to the status that they're at. They're the 1% for a reason. If I start gaining, they're, that's illegal. You can't do that. There's a
exactly. And that's why I say, like, I love like my white friends and the people who stand for me and they're there for me and they understand like my experiences and they don't try to invalidate my experience. I love them, but at the same time, I also understand that there's a bigger system that's in place that it's going to take
100%.
far more than my friends and your friends and your friends to be and to to be against, to fight against this. And it's just not going to happen because we saw not even a month ago Robin Hood and how they handled that situation. And it was just one more experience that I have that has shown me that things aren't fair. Is never going to be fair. And the best thing that we can do for ourselves is create our own and support our own. Like, I really do believe that. And to me, that doesn't mean like not supporting like white people and the things that we like to do that supports that. That doesn't mean that to me. It just means to me like investing in more into Black businesses. Like, that's what it means. It means to me like creating another Tulsa, Oklahoma, another Black Wall Street. That's what it means to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that. When I was like, what was I thinking about? No, I was thinking about, first off, the SEC, that's the Stock Exchange Commission, I think. There's some people there's some rules up there they let a lot slide by. First off, like you know, saying, especially if y'all, I don't know if y'all seen the movie The Big Short.
I've seen that it. Yeah.
And so you haven't, Mia? Oh yeah. So basically, it's just showing how these guys shorted the housing crash in '08, right?
Yeah.
They had some people that betted that was gonna happen, and they was up like long story short, they ended up being up like 900% after it was all done. But they took some years of losing money, like low is probably like 300% or whatever like that. But they knew that people wasn't paying their homes on time. There were people that were selling homes that nobody lived in those homes. They were just selling them because they wanted to be rich. And so that happens. And so I'm only saying this because I'm thinking about the corruption in that movie and how it's already showing you that, the people that won it, they wasn't too happy about it. They was happy that they got paid, but they wasn't happy that a lot of people lost their 401ks, their savings. They lost all these different things that people was trusting in. And then none of the people went to jail, which is the part that really gets you, right? None of the people that let all of that stuff happen went to jail. None of the major banks, none of the huge banks, none of them were held accountable for that. And I think they said somebody did get held accountable, and then he got out like right away. So it was just like,
that's what usually happens. If somebody does get held accountable, it's usually like 6 months probation, 6 months jail time, but it's still just 6 months.
And a little fine.
And a fine. And a fine.
And then throw them a banana or something.
Exactly. It's just, I mean, the United States has an accountability problem, and we know that. It's either you're too harsh or you're too fair, too understanding, or whatever. It's just, there's no balance in this country, and we see that time and time again. Because again, let's circle back. Breonna Taylor's killers got off.
Right.
We can talk about that. We could talk about countless other names who there should have been some justice served, and it's just like this stuff is so messed up. And so now we're at the age where we can see this stuff and we can start, like I said,
it's like tiring at this point. It's just like, can we come up with a new storyline at this point? Like, tired of this same narrative that's just been going on pretty much my whole life. Because then, like, now I talk to my parents and they're like, well, you probably never heard of, and then they mentioned Black people who died by police officers during their lifetime. And it's just like, well, this is something that's always happened. So it's just like, gosh, can we have a new narrative for once? Why do we keep telling the same story? I'm tired of this horror story, honestly. Can we come up with something new? Can we be original?
I wish. But again, this is the reckoning that happens when you build a country off of stealing. And when you build a country off of genocide, like, this is what happened. So is it going to be better for us? I want to say yes. Like, let's be realistic. Of course, we would love to be hopeful and see the silver lining, but let's be real. Black people have always had to be realistic, if nothing else. So it's
hopeful. We
had to be hopeful. We found our hope in so many things. We've had to be grounded, spiritually and in other ways. We've had to come up with our own, we've done so much and we've had it destroyed. We've built so much and we've had it snatched away. We've put these people in power to help us and we've had them killed and taken away from us. But does that stop us?
Yeah. And then you got to really think about what is it for me personally. I'm looking for ownership in land and in property coming up in real estate game and stuff like that. And you just got to look at it. And even with getting a home, just going through the process, they really make it hard for, I would say, Black people. I would say they make it hard for a lot of people,
Right.
especially if you're just a college student too. You know what I'm saying? And you're just getting out of college, and you did maybe about 4 or 5 years out of college, or that's where I'm at. I did graduated in 15 from UL, and I'm at 2020, so now it's 2021, so now it's 6 years. Geez. But but
And that's what it is
no.
for us, man.
that's why I just left mine. I didn't want to get to y'all. See,
Just keep it moving. Just keep it moving.
That's why I said I was minding my business. I was minding
Fast
mine.
forward.
Yeah, see, I was minding mine. But no, but you think about that. They really make it hard, like especially with the student loan thing, like right, that debt right there. That imagine if that got erased. Even though I heard President Biden come out and say he didn't want to do the 50K. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if he really lost his way, or if nobody talked to him about we need that 50K. But we're here to tell you on this podcast. I don't know if y'all with that. I need that 50K.
Shit, I'll take that 50K.
I need that 50K. I don't know what he's
honestly,
talking
about.
it's not just for me. It's not for me. It's for everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, let's be real. I owe about 36.
That's in student loans.
Yeah, God
I want
bless
to
you.
see that 50 for my peers who owe 150 or who owe 50. Who owes 70? Like, I want it for everybody.
Shoot, we have friends who more than 100K.
Yes,
but the thing is, it help if it get eradicated. They don't understand how much that helps out so many people buying homes. Like what you would see is a lot of people going to get homes and being able to get on the page of ownership that we're on there talking about.
I was just having that conversation
that
with
would
somebody.
That would flip the needle, but I don't, like you said, y'all talk about the power that maybe they won't let that, whatever like that. It was a lot. And that's what I'm saying. They're going to want to know what's in your bank account, why you paid this money, who you talked to that to, where that check went to, where They're going to know want to know everything about you. And then you just think about it like, I got to go through all of this. It's almost like it's not like it's just a different thing to where they ask so many different questions. And then most people that go into the home buying process, after they hear like a no one time or twice, nobody they done with it. But it's like you got to keep going because they want you to back out after the no's that you heard the first couple times. They like, okay, cool.
This mashup conversation was so good. We're going to continue it next week.
Tune in for the next part of this Not So Private What's Up with the Culture mashup. This is a great opportunity. See you next week.
Thank you so much, long distance besties, for joining us again for another Not So Private conversation. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram at Jeanne V. Williams. That's at Jeanne, Jeanne V. Williams, and at Perfectly Mia. That's at Perfectly MIA. And if you have any topic suggestions or any questions, shoot us an email at notsoprivatepod@gmail.com.
Make sure you hit the subscribe button. We definitely appreciate it. Remember to leave a review on Spotify, Apple, and Google. You can also find us at Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Overcast, and Breaker. And you can find us on anchor.fm/NotSoPrivatePod. Now you can also hear us on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Not So Private Podcast channel. Now, with all of that being said, join us next time for another Not So Private conversation.